The results of the 23andMe test were supposed to be a fun little birthday gift for my dad. A cute, nerdy way for him to trace his ancestry, maybe find a third cousin in Scotland or something. Instead, I sat there, staring at my laptop screen at 2 in the morning, and the website confirmed a truth so twisted, so profoundly messed up, it shattered my entire world in a single click. It showed that my 3-year-old brother, Leo, was my fiancé's son. Yeah, you heard that right. Let me take you back 6 months to a time when my life was, for all intents and purposes, perfect. My name is Chloe. I'm 26. Or, I was 26 when all of this started. My fiancé, Liam, was 28. We were the couple everyone envied. We met in college, dated for 5 years, and he was everything I thought I ever wanted. He was handsome, smart, had a great job in finance, and he absolutely adored me. More than that, he adored my family. Or so I thought. My family was pretty normal on the surface. My dad, Mark, is the best man I've ever known. He's a high school history teacher, a guy who still gets genuinely excited about Civil War documentaries. He's quiet, kind, and steady as a rock. My mom, Susan, is, well, she's a lot. She's one of those women who peaked in high school and never quite let go of being the prom queen. She's beautiful, charismatic, and loves being the center of attention. As I got older, I started to see the narcissism, but I always just brushed it off as that's just mom. And then there was Leo, my little brother. He was the shock of a lifetime. Mom got pregnant at 45. My dad was over the moon. He'd always wanted another kid, a boy, and he treated Leo like a literal miracle. I was already out of the house by then, but I loved that little guy fiercely. He was this bright, happy, energetic kid who brought so much joy into our lives. Liam and I were planning our wedding, a big affair for the following spring. Liam was at my parents' house constantly, even when I wasn't there. Just helping your dad with the yard work, he'd say. Or, your mom needed some help moving furniture. I thought it was sweet. I thought he was bonding with his future in-laws. He was especially great with Leo. He'd toss him in the air, build massive Lego towers with him, and bring him little gifts all the time. Gotta get on my future brother-in-law's good side, he'd laugh. And I'd just melt. See, perfect. My man, my family, all one big happy unit. God, I was so stupid. The first crack in the perfect facade happened at Leo's 3rd birthday party. It was a chaotic mess of toddlers, cake, and screaming. I was trying to corral a few kids away from the family dog when I saw it. It was nothing, really. A glance. My mom was laughing at something Liam said, and she put her hand on his arm. He looked down at her, and the way they looked at each other, it was just for a second, but it wasn't a mother-in-law and a son-in-law. It was charged. It was intimate. It was a look I thought he reserved for me. My stomach did a little flip. I shook my head, telling myself I was crazy. It was the stress of the party, that's all. Later that day, Liam gave Leo his present. It was one of those massive, battery-powered kids' cars, a mini Mercedes that must have cost $1,000. Liam, that's way too much, I said, pulling him aside. Hey, nothing's too good for my little buddy, he said, ruffling Leo's hair. Before I could argue, my mom swooped in. Oh, Chloe, don't be a spoilsport. It's wonderful. Liam is so generous. He just loves this family so much. She gave me the sharp, warning look. Don't be so critical. I dropped it. But the feeling of wrongness, that little alarm bell in the back of my head, it didn't go away. It just got quieter for a while. A month later, the bell started ringing again, louder this time. I was at my parents' house, trying to help my mom figure out why her iPad wasn't syncing with her phone. As I was digging through the settings, a text message notification popped up at the top of the screen. It was an old one, from 3.5 years ago. From Liam. The preview just said, "Last night was incredible, winky face. Can't stop thinking about it." My blood ran cold. 3.5 years ago. I did the math. That was right around the time my mom would have gotten pregnant with Leo. No, it couldn't be. My brain was screaming at me. There had to be an explanation. I took a shaky breath and confronted her, trying to sound casual. Hey mom, I saw this weird old text from Liam on your iPad. What was that about? She snatched the iPad out of my hands, her face instantly a mask of indignation. What are you doing, snooping through my messages? That's a complete invasion of my privacy. I wasn't snooping, it just popped up. What was it? She let out a theatrical sigh. Oh, for heaven's sake, Chloe. We were planning your surprise 24th birthday party. Honestly, you're getting so paranoid in your old age. Is this about wedding stress? She was so good. She turned it around on me so fast, I almost believed her. I called Liam later, my voice trembling, and asked him. He laughed. A light, easy laugh. Oh, that? Yeah. Your mom and I were trying to coordinate your surprise party. She was a master conspirator. Don't you remember that night? We almost blew it like 5 times. Last night was incredible that we didn't get caught. It sounded plausible. It sounded so plausible. I wanted to believe it so badly that I forced myself to. I apologized for being crazy. They both told me it was fine, just wedding jitters. But I had planted a seed of doubt, and their reaction was to water it with gasoline. The wedding planning became the next battleground. Suddenly, it wasn't my wedding anymore. It was our wedding. And by our, I mean theirs. My mom and Liam were a team. I'd suggest a caterer, and they would have already done a tasting with another one and decided it was so much better. Honey, you'll love it. The breaking point was the venue. I had my heart set on a beautiful old barn in the countryside. I sent them the link, all excited. The next day, Liam called me. Babe, great news. Your mom and I went and checked out that estate you liked, the one by the lake. We put a deposit down. We had to. It was their last weekend available for the spring. I was silent. I wasn't even on the list to tour that venue for another 2 weeks. They had gone behind my back. Why would you do that without me? I finally whispered. We were just so excited. We wanted to surprise you. Liam said, his voice dripping with faux enthusiasm. I lost it. I screamed at him, screamed at my mom. It was the biggest fight of our lives. My dad, bless his heart, tried to be the peacemaker. Now, everyone calm down. They were just trying to help, Chloe. They're excited for you. He had no idea what he was defending. He was just trying to keep his family from falling apart, not realizing it was already rotten to the core. I felt so alone, so completely crazy. Was I the villain here? Was I just an ungrateful bridezilla? The final piece of the puzzle started clicking into place so slowly, I almost missed it. It was Leo. As he grew from a toddler into a little boy, his features became more defined. He had my dad's smile, but he had Liam's eyes. They were the exact same shade of hazel, with little gold flecks in them. I had never seen that color on anyone else in my family. One afternoon, Leo was laughing at a cartoon, and he had this one specific dimple on his left cheek. A dimple that Liam had. I mentioned it once, at a family dinner. I tried to make it a joke. It is the weirdest thing. I laughed. Leo is starting to look more like Liam than anyone else in the family. The reaction was instantaneous and terrifying. A fork clattered onto a plate. My mom's smile became a rigid, painted-on horror show. Don't be ridiculous, Chloe. He looks exactly like your father. Everyone says so. Liam just stared at his plate, his knuckles white as he gripped his silverware. Yeah, I don't see it, he muttered. The denial was too quick, too fierce. It was like I had accused them of murder. And in that moment, the seed of doubt that had been planted months ago didn't just sprout. It grew into a monstrous tree with roots that choked everything. I knew. I didn't know how, but I knew. That brings us to the 23andMe kits. My dad's 51st birthday was coming up, and he'd been rambling on about genealogy for months. I thought it would be the perfect gift. A family kit. One for him, one for my mom, one for me, and one for Leo. A fun family bonding experience, I told myself. But deep down, I think I knew what I was really doing. I was buying a grenade and cheerfully handing it to my family, waiting to see who would pull the pin. It was my mother. When she saw the boxes, she didn't even pretend to be happy. Her face went pale. What is this? What a waste of money. I'm not doing this. I don't want some giant corporation having my DNA. It's an invasion of privacy. Her reaction was so extreme, so completely out of proportion, that it was the loudest confession she could have possibly made. My dad was just confused. Susan, it's just for fun. It's a great gift, Chloe. I looked my mom dead in the eye. It's fine, Mom. You don't have to do it. Dad, Leo, and I will do ours. It'll be fun to see what comes up. The look on her face wasn't anger anymore. It was pure, unadulterated terror. And that was it. That was the moment I stopped being a confused, paranoid daughter and started being a detective in my own life. I knew I was about to uncover something horrible. I just had no idea how horrible it would be. We sent the kits off. The 6 to 8 week waiting period was the most agonizing stretch of time in my entire life. My mom wouldn't speak to me. Liam was distant, constantly saying he was busy with work. The wedding planning ground to a halt. The whole family was trapped in this tense, unspoken Cold War, and only 3 of us knew what the fighting was about. Then, the email arrived. Your DNA results are in. I waited until late that night, until the whole house was dark and quiet. I poured myself a very large glass of wine, sat down at my computer, and logged in. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my ears. I clicked on my dad's profile first. All normal. Then mine. All normal. Then I clicked on Leo's. I went to the DNA Relatives tab. The first thing I saw was my own name. Chloe, last name. Half-sister. My breath hitched. That was right. We shared one parent, my dad. My mom wasn't his mom, so we were half-siblings. Oh God. The first part of my insane theory was true. I scrolled down the list of relatives, my eyes scanning for one name. And then I saw it. Under the close family heading, right below my name. A profile. The name on the profile was Liam. He must have done a test years ago and forgotten about it. And next to his name, the predicted relationship, in cold, sterile, digital letters. Father. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat there, in the silent darkness, as my entire reality collapsed. Every memory of the last 5 years replayed in my mind, but now they were tainted, twisted into something ugly and monstrous. Every loving glance, every family dinner, every laugh, every touch. It was all a lie so profound, I couldn't even comprehend its depths. My fiancé and my mother. My brother was my son-to-be. No, he was my fiancé's son. And my dad. Oh, my poor, sweet dad. This would destroy him. For about an hour, I just sat there, completely numb. Then, a cold, hard anger started to bubble up in my chest. An anger so pure and so intense, it burned away all the grief and the shock. They weren't going to get away with this. I wasn't going to have a quiet, tearful confrontation where they could lie and gaslight me again. No, this lie was a spectacle. The truth needed to be won, too. I printed everything. Every page. The relationship chart. The DNA percentages. Liam's profile picture next to the word father. I put it all in a neat manila folder. The following Sunday was our regular family dinner night at my parents' house. Liam texted me that afternoon. Hey, are we still on for your parents tonight? Things have been weird. I texted back. Of course. See you there. I walked into that house feeling like a stranger. I hugged my dad tightly. I gave my mom a cold, polite smile. I kissed Liam on the cheek, and it felt like kissing a snake. We all sat down for dinner. The small talk was excruciating. My mom prattled on about her garden club. Liam talked about a deal at work. My dad, oblivious and happy, told a story about one of his students. And Leo babbled happily in his high chair. I waited until my mom had just set the pot roast on the table. Everyone had a full plate. I let the silence settle for a moment, and then I turned to my dad. Dad, I said, my voice eerily calm. I got you one last birthday present. It's a little late, but I think you'll find it informative. I slid the manila folder across the polished dining room table. It stopped right in front of his plate. He looked at me, confused, and then opened it. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I have ever heard. I watched my dad's face as he read. I saw the confusion morph into disbelief, and the disbelief curdle into a horrified, gut-wrenching understanding. His eyes, the same kind, honest eyes I'd looked into my whole life, filled with a pain so deep it felt like I was watching him physically break. He slowly lifted his head, not looking at my mom, but at Liam. What is this? He whispered, his voice cracking. My mom started to babble. It's a mistake. Those websites are never accurate. It's nonsense, Mark, you know that. Liam's face was ashen. He looked like a cornered animal. I don't know what that is. It's not true. My dad's gaze finally shifted to his wife of 30 years. Susan, he said, his voice now dangerously quiet. It's a lie, Mark. Chloe is making this up. She's been acting crazy for months. My mom shrieked, starting to cry fake, hysterical tears. That's when I finally spoke. I looked directly at Liam. It's not a mistake, Liam. I saw your profile. The one you linked to your old college email address. You're a parent match. Explain that. He had nothing. He just stared at me, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. And then my dad erupted. He shot up from his chair, the force of it knocking it over with a loud crash. He wasn't yelling. It was worse than yelling. His voice was a low, terrifying roar. Get out, he said, pointing at Liam. Get out of my house. Now. Liam scrambled to his feet, knocking over his water glass. He didn't even look at me as he practically ran from the room. My dad then turned to my mom, who was now genuinely sobbing in terror. You, he choked out, his whole body shaking. How could you? With him? In my house. My son, he's not my son. The last question was a broken, wounded sound that will haunt me for the rest of my life. The rest of the night was a blur of screaming, crying, and the sound of my life being torn to shreds. My dad told my mom to pack a bag and be gone by the time he got back. He then walked over to Leo, who was crying in his high chair, terrified by the noise. He gently lifted him out, held him to his chest, and walked out the back door without another word. I was left alone in the dining room with my mother. She looked at me, her face a mess of tears and mascara. "You've ruined this family," she hissed. "No," I said, my voice like ice. "You did." The aftermath was as messy as you'd expect. My dad filed for divorce the next day. A paternity test was ordered, and it officially confirmed what the 23andMe test already told us. Liam was Leo's father. My dad, my wonderful, broken father, fought for and got full custody. The judge, after hearing the story, basically looked at my mom and Liam with such disgust that their lawyers could barely speak. Leo was his grandson, and my dad was determined to raise him. Liam disappeared. I heard through a mutual friend that he quit his job and moved across the country. His own parents were so horrified they essentially disowned him. I never saw or spoke to him again. My 5-year relationship ended not with a bang, but with a silent, shameful vanishing act. My mom is living in a small apartment across town. She lost everything: the house, her husband, the respect of everyone who ever knew her. She tries to get visitation with Leo, but my dad is fighting her every step of the way. It's been 6 months now. The wedding is obviously canceled. The save the dates are sitting in a box in my closet like little paper tombstones of a life I was supposed to have. I moved in with my dad for a while, to help with Leo and to just not be alone. Our new little family is broken, but we're surviving. Some days are okay. Some days I wake up and for a split second, I forget, and then it all comes crashing back down and I can barely breathe. My dad is my hero. He has stepped up with a strength I never knew a person could possess. He's a father and a grandfather to this little boy who is a living, breathing symbol of the ultimate betrayal. But he loves him. That love is the one pure, untainted thing in this whole mess. So yeah, that's the story of how a birthday present blew up my entire life. It was a nightmare, and I'm still not sure when I'll wake up. The truth came out, but it came out with the force of a bomb, leaving nothing but craters behind. And believe it or not, the drama didn't even stop there. If you want to hear what happened when my mom tried to show up at our house on Thanksgiving with a camera crew from a daytime talk show, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.